Before the first temple was carved, before the first story was whispered around a fire, humanity looked at the world and saw opposites, light and darkness, life and death, joy and sorrow, warmth and cold. The ancients believed these were forces locked in eternal conflict, two powers fighting for dominance over the human soul. But the Hermetic sages saw something else. They understood that opposites are not enemies. They are reflections of the same truth expressed through different degrees. They called this revelation the Principle of Polarity, a law that teaches that everything we experience exists on a spectrum, and that what we call opposite is merely the other end of the same vibration. To the untrained eye, love and hate seem worlds apart, but both burn with intensity. Both arise from deep emotional investment. They differ not in nature, but in direction. Hermetic masters taught that if you shift the dial of emotion, even slightly, hate can turn to love, fear can turn to courage, doubt can turn to clarity. Polarity is the art of transmutation, changing your state not by force, but by awareness of the spectrum beneath it. Imagine holding a rod of metal. One end feels cold, the other feels warm, but still it is the same rod. Cold and heat are not different substances. They are degrees of the same condition. Raise the vibration, and cold becomes warm. Lower it, and warm becomes cold. Nothing is added. Nothing is removed. Only the position changes. This is the secret of polarity. Every truth has its opposite, and both are true depending on where you stand. Hermes Trismegistus wrote, "Opposites are identical in nature, but differ in degree." To him, duality was not a prison, it was a teaching tool, a way for consciousness to understand itself through contrast. The universe speaks in pairs. There is no light without darkness, for darkness defines the boundaries where light begins. There is no courage without fear, for fear is the raw material from which courage is sculpted. There is no forgiveness without pain, for pain gives meaning to release. All opposites lean on each other like twin pillars holding up the sky. When you see life through this lens, conflict dissolves. You begin to understand that everything you resist has something to teach you. Every weakness is a strength waiting to be raised in vibration. Every shadow is simply light not yet understood. In ancient Egypt, the priests of Thebes taught initiates to contemplate the spectrum of emotions. They would place them in complete silence and ask them to observe fear rising inside. Then they would guide them to shift that fear towards stillness, not by resisting it, but by transforming the intensity into awareness. Through this practice, initiates learned that mastery is not about fighting darkness, but about raising its frequency until it becomes light. In the Hermetic temples of Alexandria, polarity was used as a tool for healing. A troubled mind was not labeled as broken. It was viewed as vibrating at the low end of a spectrum. The healer's role was not to replace darkness with light, but to lift the vibration until the two met in harmony. This understanding formed the basis of early alchemy. Turning lead into gold was never about metals. It was about turning the dense vibrations of the lower self into the radiant frequency of the higher self. You can see polarity everywhere in your life. Confidence and insecurity, hope and despair, calm and agitation. Each pair exists on the same line, and you stand somewhere between them. Once you understand this, you stop asking, "How do I eliminate fear?" and start asking, "How do I shift it?" This is the Hermetic art of mental transmutation, the ability to change your state by choosing a higher point on the same spectrum. The world around you mirrors the same principle. Every night becomes day. Every storm becomes clear sky. Every winter becomes spring. Nature does not resist its opposites. It cycles through them, honoring polarity as the rhythm of existence. Even modern science agrees, positive and negative charges give matter its structure. Magnetism exists because poles attract and repel. Electricity flows because opposites interact. Life is possible only through duality working as one. The universe is not divided, it is balanced. To understand polarity is to realize that separation is an illusion. Everything contains its opposite. Within every sorrow, there is a seed of joy waiting to reveal itself. Within every ending lies the quiet beginning of something new. Life does not move in straight lines, it spirals, turning darkness into wisdom and mistakes into clarity. Your own story is shaped by polarity. Think of moments that broke you, then think of how those same moments pushed you toward growth. The pain was the lower pole, the growth was the upper pole. Without the descent, the ascent could not exist. This is why the Hermetic masters taught, the deeper the shadow, the brighter the light that awaits. When you remember this, you stop cursing your challenges. You begin to see every struggle as a turning point on the spectrum. Not the end, but the midpoint before transformation. Take love and hate. Both vibrate with connection. Both care deeply. Indifference is the opposite of both, for it contains no emotion at all. Love and hate are not enemies. They are adjacent notes in the same melody. Shift the vibration, and the tone changes completely. This is why the heart can heal. This is why forgiveness is possible. Because the spectrum remains open. You are never locked on one end forever. The Hermetic texts say that the universe itself exists because of polarity. Without the tension between stillness and motion, form could not exist. Without the interplay of masculine and feminine, energy could not generate life. Without the contrast between the finite and the infinite, consciousness would have nothing to awaken from. Polarity is the game the universe plays with itself, forgetting and remembering, expanding and contracting, dying and being born again. Understanding this principle brings a deep peace, because you no longer fear the lows. You know they are invitations to rise. You no longer cling to the highs. You know they are moments of illumination, not destinations. You begin to live in rhythm with the universe, not in resistance to it. When polarity becomes your lens, compassion awakens. You see that every person is simply standing at a different point on the same spectrum. The angry man is not evil. He is vibrating at the lower pole of passion. The fearful child is not weak. Fear is the lower pole of intuition. The heartbroken lover is not ruined. Heartbreak is the lower pole of devotion. Every state has its higher form waiting above it, and every soul is climbing slowly through the spectrum of its own becoming. The masters said that enlightenment is not the escape from duality, it is the understanding of it. When you see that opposites are one, you transcend their tension. Good and evil lose their sharp edges. Success and failure lose their sting. Life becomes a teacher instead of a battlefield. The final secret of polarity is this: the highest and lowest poles meet. Extreme darkness turns into blinding light. Extreme chaos turns into profound order. Extremes bend the spectrum into a circle, returning to unity. This is why the Hermetic texts say, God is a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. All opposites collapse into oneness, and perhaps that is the greatest truth hidden behind polarity. Nothing in your life is as divided as it seems. Within every difficulty lies a blessing. Within every fear lies strength. Within every ending lies a beginning already unfolding. So the next time you find yourself struggling, remember that you are not trapped. You are simply standing on the lower pole of a great truth. Raise your vibration, even slightly, and the entire experience will shift with you. Because opposites are not walls, they are doors. If you've begun to see how polarity unites every contradiction in your life, don't miss the next episode. The hidden path of integration, the alchemy of the inner self. Follow the Midnight Library for stories from the edge of history, faith, and the mysteries that still shape humanity.